All right, hello wine drinking people. Time for more of what I've had to drink yesterday. And you know my favorite way to start the day out, or to end the day for that matter, is champagne. Or method champenois, sparkling wine, but I am somewhat of a snob when it comes to sparkling wines. There is nothing that comes close to the great wines of Champagne. It is this unique climate that they have there. Chardonnay, Pinot Noir, Pinot Meunier just create magic with these chalky soils, the most northern appellation in all of France. I think Alsace is pretty close, but anyways, very high north. So you get wines with remarkable freshness. And like I said, this distinct minerality that really doesn't exist anywhere else in the world. Well, they say the same soil crops up in the south coast of England. And I've had some people tell me that the English sparkling wines are getting much better in blind tastings. They've beaten Champagne. I'd like to see that. Well, Philippe Gonet is the 7th generation family-owned champagne producer. They have 11 different vineyard sites of their own, and they use almost exclusively wine from their own vineyards, but they do carry the title of negociant because they do buy a little bit of fruit. And you know, a lot of people in Champagne want to keep that option open. I don't want to say just in case it's a bad vintage because, you know, this is a Champagne house in an off vintage. They sell off their off fruit. They don't use it in any of their cuvées. Everything in this lineup is a very high level of quality, and almost everything's Blanc de Blanc. They only got 1 or 2 blends here in the mix, and they really focus on that bright, fresh quality that you get from Chardonnay in Menil, which is where most of their vineyards are located, Sur Ogier. Anyways, the first one we started out with was Grand Reserve, and this wine's got 7 grams of dosage in it, so a low dosage here, and 70% from one vintage. 30% reserve wines to bring, you know, more mature, more complexity to the cuvee here. This is mostly 2009 in this cuvee, and they do have on the back there the disgorgement date. Genius! You don't see that in too many places. It is in kind of some encrypted code, so it's a little hard to read. You have to know. You have to have your Gonet decoder ring on it to figure out what it is. But anyways, this wine is 60% Pinot, 30% Chardonnay, 10% Pinot Meunier. And like I said, these wines very fresh and bright. Good amount of that zesty minerality showing to the green apple and lemon zest, little notes of almond and ginger spice there. An excellent bottle of Grand Reserve. Well, I would say this is our non-vintage Brut champagne because all these wines are really good, really high in terms of quality for $69. And even better the next day, something I found that, even champagnes need some time to open up. Sure, they lose some bubbles, but they do gain in their nose, their aromatics, and the complexity on the finish to me. All right, the Gonet Rosé up next. This wine's a blend of 10% red still wine, 90% Chardonnay, and the acidity of Menil is key to keeping these wines. And they have 1945 vintage wines in their cellars, undisgorged. And this wine's got a lot of minerality to that wild strawberry, really intense kind of white chalky minerality here showing 2 different types of fossils found here. You get the bones of the calamari and the snails. You can see them almost in any of the vineyards there if you dig just a little distance. It's got a salty kind of briny quality because of that. It's a lovely wild strawberry fruit showing on the palate. Very elegant style of rosé with that distinct minerality showing on the finish with some pretty floral notes. An excellent bottle of rosé at $88.50. Up next, we have the Blanc de Blanc, which is, like I said, what this champagne house specializes in. They got 4 different vineyard sites that go into this one, adding complexity to it, and a little tropical kind of pineapple, fresh brioche, fresh bread notes there. Really creamy texture on the tongue. One of the things I love about Blanc de Blanc. And lovely zesty quince and lemon fruit there showing. With that mineral-driven, chalky notes all the way to the end and just leaves the tongue tingling. In addition to the effervescence, you get that minerality, which is that tongue tingliness there at $81. Excellent juice. All right, we're bringing it up a notch with the 3210, and that's another Blanc de Blanc, 3 years of aging in the bottle. That's the 2 different vineyard sites, and 1 grape. Okay, 50% Montagneux, 50% Le Menil sur Ogier. A very tropical pineapple fruit in this one, really rich in minerality also. That signature minerality showing in all of these wines on the nose. Really smooth and creamy on the tongue with wonderful concentration and richness in this wine. A really long finish. It's got no dosage, so, I mean, they could call it... it's called Extra Brut Zero, I guess they could call it also. And this wine really focused, almost laser-like minerality shown, even better on the second day. Really long and balanced finish. Most excellent juice. We gave it a rating up a notch here because of the second day tasting here. The next wine, the Roy Soleil, the Sun King, This is a really rich wine. It's from a single vineyard and aged in 600-liter oak casks, a quarter which are new. They switch them out every 4 years. This is from Le Menil Vineyard, 5.5 hectares, mainly 2008 vintage. 30% reserve wine go into this. Really felt creamy and rich on the palate, and only 25,000 cases of this wine produced annually. They only produce 200,000 cases total. A really small artisan champagne house. And wow, what intensity this wine has. Just layers of that green apple, pineapple, Jolly Rancher candy with that distinct chalky minerality, salty, briny notes. A hint of kind of good and plenty licorice candy showing in this wine. Also, really long, layered finish. Really complex. Even better on the second day. I know it's without bubbles, but really an array of that nuance and minerality showing. Seems to never end on the finish. Just killer juice. We raised that one up a notch here because of the second day. My favorite champagne in the lineup. Although the Millésime Blanc de Blanc was pretty darn good too. 2007. Also from 100% from Le Menil Vineyard. And more acidity to this, which is the key to aging in this vineyard site. They got 13 different parcels, and they don't make this wine every year. It's only in great vintages. A really nice balance to this wine. Really nice elegance, that intense minerality shining through, and really, it's a little bit more reserved here. Really nice creaminess to the tongue, that minerality, those briny notes, a little bitter almond, nice ginger spice to the finish. Really complex and layered, and pronounced briny quality, really showing long and layered on the finish, that chalky, minerally nuance, most excellent juice. Incredible length on this wine for $108. That's what we had to drink with the folks from Philippe Gonet. I'm your host, Andrew Lampasoni, signing off for the Wine Watch, saying remember, always drink the good stuff first.